Hi.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much for being on the call, Barbara and Sam. Malky, I think you're on the line too, right? Okay, awesome. I'm really glad I dialed in 15 minutes early because that's how long it took me to get these issues resolved. Okay, so it looks like we're in practice session. Okay, great. Jeremy, would you be able to pull up the agenda before we go live?
Before we go live, sure. Give me 1 second.
Or after, whatever works best, sorry.
Yep, no, I got it. It's just we're less than a minute from going live, but
No, it's okay, it's okay.
This is a real production, huh?
oh yeah.
I don't have
I got a time to a science.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun that's loaded, I can assure you.
Well, appreciate that.
Good.
All right.
Okay, and anyone who joins as an attendee, would it be possible to make them a panelist?
Yeah, I could do that. Let me go live now.
All right, well, thank you.
I have to stop the share to do that. Stop the share. Oh, I should coin that term. Okay.
Okay, hi everyone. Anyone who joined today's housing committee meeting as an attendee, we're gonna bump you up to a panelist just to make sure that you have the ability to unmute your own line when we are done with each of the presentations. There'll be a Q&A period. So you'll be able to ask questions. If there are a number of questions, we're going to ask that you raise your hand. That way we can do sort of a roll. And then the chat and the Q&A function should also be enabled so that we can be able to filter questions. Just to be completely transparent, I was having some technical issues logging in. So I'm actually joined today from my phone. So it's a little hard to monitor the chat and the QA from here, but I'm gonna do my best. Any questions that we're not able to answer through the chat or the Q&A, if I'm not able to answer them myself, I'm going to rely on the housing committee members just to help out with that. And then any questions, what we can do is also download the chat and the QA function after and make sure everyone has their questions answered. Before we get started for today, I just wanted to go over just a couple of things. So this is the meeting agenda. It's nothing fancy, but wanted to just address a couple of things. So Hennessis, who co-chairs the housing committee, isn't able to be on the call tonight due to a meeting conflict, but she might be joining in later. And I know we haven't met in a while. And I really just wanted to address this part. I wanted to have a meeting before Thanksgiving in November. But just to be completely transparent with everyone, my parents were going through something personal. They were evicted from where they were living. So I just needed to prioritize that. And I apologize that we haven't been able to meet sooner, but we're here now and we have a number of items that and we have two presentations today where we're going to hear from the New York Foundation for Senior Citizens, and the program director, Barbara Baer, is here with us today to speak about their home sharing program. And then we also have a presentation from Reside New York, who's going to be speaking regarding the 875 4th Avenue development. After that, we're going to go over just some housing updates. And towards the end of the meeting today, I'm hoping that we can talk more about how we can meet more regularly, and then also framing agenda items for meetings in the future. If you have anything else that you want to discuss today, put it in the chat and we'll try to make sure that it's addressed. But with further ado, I wanted to give the floor over to Barbara to talk more about the home sharing program.
Well, thank you. Good evening. I hope your parents are okay now. It's the housing situation is in a terrible place. In any event, I work for the New York Foundation for Senior Citizens, which is a not-for-profit group that has been around since 1980 and has loads of programs for seniors, respite care, Guardian, 10 houses of affordable housing for seniors, several senior centers, and a variety of other programs. So one niche program, which is difficult, but we're very proud of and we work very hard at, is called home sharing, which is a simple concept. Basically, two people share a home, and one person, the host, is a person who has his or her name on a lease, and the other is a guest who wishes to move in. The host has to have a spare room, and the guest has to be able to, quote unquote, share the expenses, which means that the host can ask for as much as 50% of the rent. And then the two people enter into an agreement. It's a month by month so that no one is stuck. And it all sounds very simple, but it's not. So the home sharing division consists of several social workers, licensed social workers, and we do a couple of things. We do background checks on every person, host or guest, who applies. We ask for 3 letters of reference, and then we call the people to make sure that they're real. And then we have a patented 32-question questionnaire, which we ask of all applicants. We have Zoom calls with everybody, and we try to sort of get to the point of a sort of locus between the possibilities of a guest and a host. And after we actually find some, and sometimes we do, then we ask them to meet, and they discuss whether they can share and whether they would be companionable. And then they share, then they sign a share agreement, which is between the two of them. So, as I said, it is very simple in concept and very hard in delivery, but very possible, and only one small resource to deal with the housing problem. One of the guests has to be 60 or over. That's how we fulfill our mission for seniors, but the other one doesn't. So sometimes we have an intergenerational match. Our average person in the program is about 72, a female who has an apartment for whatever reason. And the share ranges from about 600 up to, once in a while, 1,400. And over the years, we've been reasonably successful. Some of the people stay for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and they really feel that they have a safety net. And I can't tell you how many really difficult, sad calls I get. And I worry, and I wonder about how people got to the point that they are, but many people really are living on a very limited amount of Social Security, or in the alternative, a very limited amount of Social Security disability. So placing them is very hard, but it's very worthwhile. And when we have a success, we're actually very happy. That's basically it in a nutshell. And it's a boutique program. We've matched hundreds over the years, but not so many each year. And I found that during and after the COVID situation, people are much more circumspect, and it's harder to place people, but it is possible. And when it works, it's really good for both people. The host receives some income, and seniors living on a fixed income are very happy to receive an extra $600 or $700. And people, a woman called today who has a studio in Manhattan, and the studio's $1,800, and she can't afford it anymore. So unfortunately, you can't home share in a studio, but she needs a place where she can pay $600 or $700. So that's what we do. And the reason I came before you is that a very lovely woman on a Bronx community board called and said she'd like to be have her committee be briefed on it. And I thought, my gosh, what a great idea. Why didn't I think of it? Community boards is such an essential anchor in every community. And the people on the community board know a lot of people and have a lot of wisdom. And it would be great to talk to them. So that's it. And if you have any questions, or any comments, one of the things that is so troublesome is getting the word out. And if you have any ideas of how we can further let people know of the opportunity, it's of no cost to anybody, I'd like to hear them. Nope. It's my son calling. I'm just going to tell him to call back. Honey, I'm on a Zoom call, just talking. Can I call you back in a few minutes? Are you okay? Call me in a little bit. Okay.
Antoinette, do you want to call hands or should I?
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to Barbara. Yeah, I don't see, I see John has a question.
Hi, Ms. Bear. Thank you for speaking to us. Do you have information that you could share with the board listing where these home shares are taking place so that we could find out how many are in Brooklyn and how many are in our area?
I have two. I have a sheet that will sort of be a sort of a metric calculation, and then probably every 6 weeks we send out a sort of briefing of what might be available, and I'll send it to Antoinette, and you can take a look and see.
Thank you. Does it show the community board? I mean, at a community board level or zip code level?
In one of the sheets it does, and it shows which community board has produced more and which less, and we never know which. And I was just reading about your community. It looks like it's very interesting, very diverse, really growing, and but doesn't have a huge, from what I could see, it doesn't have a huge population of seniors, but nevertheless, it probably has some needs in terms of housing. I see you're going to discuss this other housing project, and I know affordability is on everybody's mind. So, so yes, I can send both of those.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody have an idea of how I can further let people know about it?
In terms of outreach, yeah, we can definitely brainstorm some different ways. If anyone on the line has some ideas for outreach for Barbara, please include those in the chat. If there are any attendees, I just mentioned this earlier, there were just some issues with promoting folks to panelists. So if you are an attendee and have a question, please use the chat or the Q&A function. We just want to make sure that we're addressing everyone's inquiries.
They can raise hands as well, Antoinette.
Okay, great. And I see we have Karen, Cynthia, and Grisel.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Okay, I just have a quick question. What are the requirements for becoming a host? For example, do you have to have a separate bathroom for the person or anything like that?
No, a room
Just a room with a door.
with a door.
And I just wanted to add that my mother got a roommate when she was in her 70s.
Right.
And it worked out extremely well, even with my neurotic mother. And it kept her in her house for much longer than she should have been in her house, but
Yeah.
that's another story. So
She-
this is a terrific program. And maybe we can just spread the word at like senior centers and things like that. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, and your mother, did she just sort of take a chance with someone, or did she come through?
There used to be this thing called classified ads in this
Oh,
thing called
yeah.
the newspaper, and she put an ad in the newspaper for a roommate.
God bless your mother. I think it's more difficult to do that now, although there's this group called Spare Room. And people just, I think it's much more a younger population. They just jump into it, which without, we really do a background check. And believe me, nothing's perfect, but we really, between the background check and going on Zoom and asking each person 32 questions, where do you want to live? Do you smoke? Do you have a pet? Do you drink? Are you going to have overnight guests? I can't remember them all. It's pretty intrusive. So if you withstand all of that, you actually might really want to be in the program, and you're actually
It's actually a great idea. I mean, I'm going to tell my pastor, and pastors, and because they know old people, might be a good.
Right. So thank you.
Yeah,
I
and
want-
another great resource might be Grisel. Grisel, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yes, Barbara, thank you for that information. I am the director at the Senior Center in Sunset Park.
Oh, great.
You have a special invitation. So whenever you want to go and talk to my seniors about your program, it's excellent. I know about the program. I've been working before with that program. And it's excellent resource in the community and also for the seniors. Will be good, additional information. So you have a special invitation, okay? So
Yeah.
just let me know, and always will be welcome. My senior
you.
will get benefits.
Thank you. I will call. I love that community. You see,
Thank
and
you.
I think that a part of the problem of the whole city is that some people think of it, as just the city, or they have to be in Manhattan. And people really want to be in their communities. And that's why when this woman said, would you brief the community board? I thought, oh my God, that's brilliant, because people do live in communities, and they are, they don't live in New York City. They live in Sunset Park. They live in, wherever they live, Jamaica, whatever. So they don't really associate. When they go into Manhattan, they call it going into the city, right? So I'm trying to get to the next level of people wanting. Bay Ridge, for example, great community, and people feel really branded. They're part of it, and that's what I'm trying to do. So thank you. I will call you, and I will come visit.
Great.
I want
Thank
to say one more thing, and I know this housing person is very important to you, but it just occurred to me that I hadn't mentioned another program, and I'll send Antoinette all this material. We have a program called Respite Care, and it's really pretty fabulous, and it's a much easier sell than home sharing, because the dynamics of the personalities and all of that is not there. In any event, if a senior gets out of a hospital and needs some home care, and they haven't really prepared for it, we have a program where one can call, and we will try to find a home health attendant for the senior. And the deal is that, again, a person has to use 4 hours in a day, but the person who needs the home care has to directly pay the home health attendant. So we're not in that part, but the amount they pay is $17 an hour or whatever. And it's much less expensive than going to a for-profit home care agency, where the amount that you pay is really a whole lot. And we're not trying to compete with anybody, but we realize that sometimes when people get out of the hospital, they have nothing. And this is a way for short term. You can only use the program for 3 months, and then we're out of the picture. But if you like the home health attendant, if you want to hire them privately without anything to do with us, we do that. And it's just another way to help seniors. And we're trying to keep people at home. So in any event, I'll send that, and it might be useful for somebody. I noticed today, and I'll keep quiet then, that the Medicaid, they're gonna try to raise the Medicaid rate for nursing homes 20%, like holy mackerel. You know, what about all the people who are at home who are struggling to just make do and keep themselves in their apartment, you know? It seems unfair to me, but that's it. And if I'm gonna leave you because I talk too much, and if nobody else has a question,
Actually, I think we have one more question from Cynthia.
It's a comment. Thank you, Barbara, for joining us today. In terms of resources and putting out the information, do you have a flyer that can
Yes,
be
yes, yes.
distributed? Because
Yeah,
if we have a flyer, Jeremy perhaps could send it to the listserv of CB7. He's great at sending out informational emails. And also, Jeremy, maybe Alexa could put it in that newsletter thing she does. And we could forward it to Alexa Vilas, who's our council woman. She could put it in that, and Marcela Maitanes and our electeds, really, they all give out information every single month, the newsletters.
great.
So
Great.
if you
That
have
would
the
be
flyer, that would be terrific. And my comment earlier was that Griselle, before she chimed in, would be a great resource. She does a wonderful job here with the seniors in Sunset Park. And there are lots of seniors here in
Thank
Sunset
you.
Park. They're under the good care of Griselle.
Bravo.
So you're
Bravo.
being great care with her.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo. Okay, good night, and really a pleasure. I always love these meetings. I was deputy borough president in Manhattan, so I frequently ran the community boards, and I know how much people give, and they're really civically concerned, and that's pretty wonderful in this era of such dispirit. So good night.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
I'll follow up.
Night.
Okay, good night. Thank you.
Okay, and then next we have Sam, or Jeremy,
It's
we're gonna do
without
roll call.
Roll call. But,
Yeah, sorry.
so we missed roll call earlier, but we'll make up for it now. I am going to mute everybody. Committee members, when I call your name, please unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. Let's start with Antoinette Martinez.
Present.
Thank you. Genesis Aquino. Alberto Ortiz Almeida. Nicholas Azadian. Joan Body. Gladys Bruno.
She's starting to get back on.
I saw her before, we chatted before. I know she was on the subway. We'll catch her when she comes back. John Fontelis. Leonette Lopez. John Johnston.
I'm here.
Thank you. Joseph Lara. Marilyn Melman. Rovika Rajkishan. Maria Roca. John Santori.
I am present, but I just called in on a phone, so I'm gonna have to get off the Zoom and I'm gonna listen on the phone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Elise Shook. Roll has been called. There are plenty of board members who are not committee members. I will write your names down. Back to you, Antoine.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jeremy. So next we have a presentation from 875 Fourth Avenue. And we have Sam Rosenberg on the line.
Yes, hi, I'm here.
Hi, Sam. Did you have the PowerPoint presentation, or did you want us to show that?
I can, if you can enable my screen, my share screen, I can open it. I can share it by myself.
Okay.
Sam, you could share your screen now.
Got it. Hi. Just a second. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, good. Okay, so I've prepared this presentation. Hi, everyone, board members. So basically what resides in an approved HPD, affordable marketing agency. We work with developers who develop units in New York City, and in exchange for programs, for example, additional square footage for the building or tax break, tax credit, they will provide a portion of their building towards affordable housing. So we have one beautiful project, 875 4th Avenue, which the developer actually got a double the bonus. He was able to gain more square footage, plus he got approved under the 421A tax abatement program. Therefore, he's providing 30% of the building towards affordable housing. So these affordable units are being rented through the city's program, which is called Housing Connect. It's a website where every New Yorker can go up and apply for lotteries that's available. I would say in general, there are like 20 projects available at once. Every day a new project comes up. Every project goes on for between 21 to 60 days, which is the open live period for applicants to come in. A lot of applications are being collected for those projects, but for this particular project, 875 4th Avenue, we have a special preference which will allow community board residents, those who live in this community board, will have a preference to be able to get a unit. There will be half of the affordable units designated for community board preference, for community board residents. So it's important to spread the word in your community board, to have people, residents, potential applicants apply so they can get an opportunity to rent a unit in this building. We have units priced very well. I would say it's at least 40 to 50% cheaper than what the free market units in the same building will be rented. So it's a deep discounted units, and we'll go through the agenda to show you how the program works and how everyone can apply, and the timelines when they can anticipate to have a move-in. So this project is located in community boards in Brooklyn Community Board 7. So we're going to discuss project information, then qualification, who qualifies for those units. Then we'll go into how to apply and what to expect after you apply. And then if anyone will have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it. So for the project information, as you know, this project is located at 875 4th Avenue, Sunset Park. You can see on the map, it's a beautiful area and has a lot to it. And we see from the influx of application that's coming in, it's a demand for this unit. It's a beautiful building, and finishes for the building is beautiful, nicely high-end amenities in the building, high-end finishes. Same applies for the free market and affordable units. So in order to qualify, we have two brackets for the units that we offer. We offer under the 80 AMI level and under the 130 AMI level. The units that will be rented through the 80 AMI level is for anyone, a one-person household earning from 53,000 up to 85,000. The rent amount for the studio would be 1,473. For the one bedroom would be 1,571, and a two bedroom is 1,876. The 130 AMI bracket is a higher rent amount, so the studio would be at 2,050, one bedroom 24, and the two bedroom 2,975. Just for a comparison, the free market two bedroom are priced for $4,900, $5,000. So this is these really discounted units, and we have seen from the interest that we got for this project that we have tremendous. I think to date we have like 30,000 applications that actually came in for those units. So the income qualifications differs from every project because we want to make sure every applicant can actually afford to pay the rent. So that's why we want to make sure that they are being vetted for the income. We'll go into it in a minute. And the good thing about it, these rent prices, these units are rent stabilized, so the rent prices will be locked freeze for the life of the benefit. So the 80 MI units will be for the life of the building, and the 130 MI units will be for the next 35 years. Those units will be rent stabilized, so there will be no significant increase, just what the DHCR board will allow. The income is being calculated. We will take the gross income based on your pay stubs or the number that's reflected on your W-2. Each household member, the income from each household member will be considered. Let's say if we have a 3-person household, we'll calculate all 3 together and we'll make like a total of the household. Or all sources of income will be documented and verified per HPD's marketing guidelines. And there's a very important thing about assets. If someone owns assets in the amount of, for the 80 MI unit, it will be $106,720, and for the 130 MI units, it would be $173,000. If anyone owns, let's say, a bank account, an asset account, a savings, anything like real estate property, anything that's worth more than this amount will not qualify for the affordable housing. This affordable housing is set aside for those in need, and the city looks at it. If the applicant, the person, has more than this amount reflecting the asset limit column, they will be rejected for over the asset cap. And assets is savings account, checking account, trust, investments like stocks, bonds, cash savings, or any other assets. One very important factor is household. In order to be qualified for a two bedroom, you're going to need to be 2 people together, 2-person household. So how HPD will look at it is you cannot take 2 random friends, apply together, and get a 2-bedroom. They're going to have to show or family members, immediate family members, like a father, son, like or if or anyone that, let's say, someone has an aide, so it will be counted towards a 2nd-person household. Or if someone can show any financial interdependency, like a lease, they live together, they pay together bills, they have together a bank account. All these will show financial interdependency, so they will be able to apply together and get an apartment together. So I have the link is in the, I'll share it around, the agenda will be circled around. You can look out the actual terms of household qualification on HPD's handbook. How to apply? The easiest way to apply is through the Housing Connect website. The city has launched 2 years ago a beautiful new website, very easy and user-friendly to apply. So you just click on the link and you can scroll to the project you would like, and you click on apply, and your application is in. I'll show in a minute how the website looks. Let me pull it up. You see it? So this is the city's website. So you can see here, currently we have 16 projects live on Housing Connect. And as you can see, this is 875 Fort Avenue. This is the project we're discussing. You click into the project details. Loading. Looks like the site is slow. So this is the project. As you can see, the project is live. The deadline is February 20, another 26 days to go. Here you have the project details, a nice picture of the building. Here you have listed all the amenities that the building offers, all beautiful amenities. Here you can see the chart of the eligibility. You can see if you qualify for any of these units, a map, and some photos of the project. So this is basically the listing. You just scroll down here, you click apply now. It's going to prompt you to log into your existing account or to register account. It's very easy to register a new account. Just show you if you have any difficulties while creating your account. The site has a very nice it's called a very nice section to learn how to use the system, like short to the point videos. And you can scroll down to see if you get stuck while you're applying for the project. You can just run through these short videos to be able to see how to fill out your application. But once you have an account, you just go into the project and you click apply now and you are in it. Just want to circle back to what was discussed earlier. We do have a lot of projects just designated for seniors for very low pricings. So it was mentioned earlier. So I just want to show you when we are doing project just designated for senior 62 age and older, and the rent amounts are cheap. Basically, the monthly rent starts at $0. Basically, if you have a voucher, technically, might sometimes you pay $0 for the rent. So if this could be circled back to Barbara. So we have a lot of projects just designated, a lot of these just designated for seniors. So we'll go back to the presentation. If someone had difficulties applying online, they can request a paper application just by following the paper application request details. And once basically you're going to send us a request that we should send you an email. We'll mail out an application for you, and you will return fill out the complete application to the designated PO box for this project. After you apply, basically the lottery will be live up until February 26. After you apply, after the deadline, you're going to take about 4 weeks for the system to generate the lottery. So how it works, it's not who applies first comes first. After the application period is over and every application has been entered to the system, the system will randomly generate a number for each and every application, and then we will start vetting applications in order of the log number. So we'll start with log number 1, log number 2, log number 3, and we'll start offering the units for those logs. Even though we'll go in order of the log, if someone is a community board resident, we'll offer him a unit, even though let's say log number 5 is the first community board resident, we will first offer the unit to log number 5. After we'll finish 50% of the units for community board, then we'll go back and start again from log number 1 to offer the unit for general New Yorkers. So we have a total of 45 affordable units in the building. So we'll offer 23 units for resident, for community board residents. Then there will be additional preferences for those who are disabled or those who have a vision and hearing disability. So these will be also handled before we go to General New York. So once your application is up for processing, you'll get a notice from Housing Connect system to submit documentations for eligibility review, a checklist of items of paperwork that's needed will be sent to you, and you have the option or to upload your documentation on the system or by email, or actually come into our office to submit the documentations. Once we have all your documentations, we'll review and to see for which unit you qualify. And as soon as we have determined under which criteria you fall in, we'll tour the project with you, we'll show you the units available for you, and it's going to be up to you to decide which unit you would like to take. And once you say you confirm on the unit, we'll send you HPD documentations to sign. As soon as your application is completed, we'll submit it to HPD for approval. Once HPD approves the application, we'll send you a lease to sign, and you'll be ready to move in. So it's an opportunity, very nice price units, beautiful building, high amenity building. It's a high-end building, so free to apply. Just one thing I want to note is if you apply twice, if you have a double application in the system, you'll be rejected. So only apply once, and as soon as the log is being generated, we'll start reaching out to those and we'll start the tenant selection process of the project. So any questions I can answer now, or if you want, you can just send an email to Susan@residenewyork.com. She's the designated project manager for this project, and she'll be able to assist and make sure that your application is in.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sam, for presenting today. I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of questions, but I was just hoping if you could just clarify two things: the name of the developer for this project.
No, we are just owner's rep for this project.
I'm sorry, but could you provide the name of the developer for the project?
Yes, send me an email, I'll provide it to you.
Jeremy, we don't have that information. That's not public information, the developer name.
Oh, you just wanted me to name the developer.
Yeah.
Oh, the developers, the two partners, Michael Lick and Toby Moskowitz are the partners for this project.
Okay, and then could you go over what the market rate rents were for the development?
The market rate for the development, the unit ranging between $4,000 to $5,500.
$4,000 for one bedroom?
Between, I mean, averaging. Oh, you want to go unit by unit? Give me a minute.
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
The average one bedroom, $4,850. Average two bedroom is $5,300. Average studio is $2,900.
Yeah, that's deeply unaffordable for folks in this community.
That's why we offer 45 of those units for like $1,500, starting, I think, from, let me see the chart again.
So I know that there's going to be a number of questions. I do want folks to keep in mind that Reside New York is not the developer. They're the marketing agency working on behalf of HPD. So Jeremy, would there be a way for us to meet with the developer, or would there be maybe Reside New York, would there be a way for us to coordinate a meeting where the developer could come and speak to the housing committee a little bit more about the project and just specific questions about?
I'll refer the your contact to the developer, they should reach out, definitely.
Okay, so just keep that in mind with the questions, but we'll go ahead and turn it over to folks on the line. Bear with me a minute. Okay, so we have one question from Jeremy.
Yeah, hey, it's actually more for the community board members and maybe Jeremy Lawford, but when was this project approved? And I'm just curious, like, was there any conversation with the community board around the AMI bands? Because 130 AMI band, especially for Sunset Park, is not affordable at all. I mean, I'm looking at those 130 AMI prices, and that's more expensive than most market rate that I'm seeing. I mean, their 2-bedroom is more expensive than the 3-bedroom by hundreds of dollars that I'm living in right now. So I'm just curious, like, especially if the developer got 421A plus height, and then we wound up with what feels like very unaffordable, especially that they're 1 and 2 bedrooms or studios. So I'm just curious. I remember this building going up for a long time, but when was this approved, and was there like a conversation with the community board about these AMI bands? And if anybody knows about that, it'd be great.
So no, there was no conversation. No, it was never approved, and it's an as-of-right project that does not come before the board.
Gotcha. That's kind of what I thought. And it started building around 2016?
No, later.
2001?
I believe it was a little, I'm not entirely sure. I believe it was a little later. And of course, it was a mobile gas station previously, so they had to do environmental cleanup as part of it. Antoinette, I believe there's an attendee with their hand up too.
Oh, thanks for catching that, Jeremy. If you can unmute their line.
Sure. Eduardo Jimenez, you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you.
Cool. Hello, good evening to the community board. Very happy to be in this meeting, and then thank you for everyone hosting it and making this meeting possible. Thank you for Sam Rosenberg, right, that added insight in regards to this project, and then also the ability for community members to potentially apply, right, for affordable housing units in the community. I think it's, housing has been a matter of contention that has been needing to be very carefully addressed, and then also communicated, and so on and so forth. And so there is a slew of technical questions that I was hoping that maybe perhaps Sam at a particular point he could potentially get back, to the board, and then so that the board can further communicate it. And then it's technical questions. And then, Sam doesn't consider this as that, and I'm in no form of creating any kind of advocacy, but I think being able to sort of like understand in depth the numbers that, that we're able to find, and how the way this housing was able to be financed, and, all the small little trinkets and stuff, for that would be helpful for us to later on understand how much these projects cost, and, what is the accessibility for community members to actually create affordable housing dependent on the AMI requirements. And but I think one of the big questions that I would have would be, was there any public funding pursued to add affordability to this project?
No, this project was solely privately financed.
Okay. And so, all right, yeah. So then it really came down, and probably a little bit connects to the question that the other community member asked, Jeremy, in regards to how was AMI, was there any kind of conversation in regards to how AMI was sort of like set up, for people to, yeah. But Sam, did you happen to see my questions in the Q&A section?
I'll look at it now.
And then once I guess you have, you look them over, would these be questions that you could potentially answer? And then I guess communicate them through the board so that the board then can add further clarity in a
So
future meeting?
21A and inclusionary housing program are as of right programs. Everyone can go and apply, and you don't need an approval from the community board. It's a HPD is the agency overseeing the program, and it's actually affordable housing generated by the private sector. This is how they look at it, and this is a privately owned lot. They built. It's a privately owned. It's a privately financed project. So just a benefit that they gave away 30% of the units to affordable. And as you can see, even though they were approved at 130 AMI, the developer voluntarily lowered with about 20% the numbers. The rent that's reflected on the advertisement is actually lower of what what was approved by HPD. So for example, 2-bedroom is the 130 AMI for a 2-bedroom is priced at, if you look up, it's all public information. The 130 AMI numbers, HUD releases these numbers every year in April. As of this year's 130 AMI numbers is set at, one second. For a studio, 3,035. For a 1-bedroom, 3,253, and for a 2-bedroom, $3,900, $3,903 to be exact. So technically, the developer was approved to go to a full 130% AMI, which would be $3,900, but he voluntarily lowered the amount and offered cheaper because he wanted to attract locals to come and apply and actually rent those units.
Am I still unmuted? Hello?
Yes, you are. Are you finished with your question?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to thank Sam for the, for the added information that he just provided. They didn't necessarily answer any of the questions that were placed on the Q&A section. And then once again, I was hoping if maybe perhaps these are questions that you could potentially answer, or maybe the developer later on in depth. And then not necessarily so much, in terms of like, creating some form of negative narrative in regards to this development. I think that you guys have done your fair share of making, rents a little bit more accessible to people in the community. But then it is important to sort of like have, as a community member, an understanding on how much projects like these might cost, so that in the event, for later on future, yeah.
So I can't answer it. I don't have all this information, but
Sure.
Quick Google search answered your first question. The land cost, all this information are public. You can look it up on Acres. So
Sure.
the project cost was $53 million. This is what I can say. The land itself, I'm not sure. I can pull it up on Acres. We can see the deed when it was recorded. Give me a minute. I'll give you all this information is public information. And I don't have it handy because I don't have this information. The total construction cost was $58 million. And the market rate unit in this building, so the building is a total of, we have a total of 150 units, with 45 being affordable. So 105 will be market rate units. Maintenance costs for the building per year, being that this project has to provide prevailing wages. So I believe the cost 150 times. I believe we're talking about $1 million in maintenance costs for this building. And total income for the building, I don't have this information, and profits. No, I can't answer all these.
All right, no worries, Sam. I think that's that's it from my end and stuff like that. And thank you for being helpful and providing the information that you can at your best of your abilities. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Eduardo.
And another question? Because I have to
That's good from my end.
We
Thank you,
have
Sam.
just one more question from Maria Roca.
go ahead.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Yep. I am rather perplexed. I came in and I apologize a little late. Public transportation, rain, not a good mix in New York City, but did somebody say that this is a 421A project?
Yes.
Okay. And forgive me, Sam, for using your first name. We have not met, but thank you for being here. Whether it's you who can answer this or somebody else that is in the meeting. So what did we get? What did the public get? What did the taxpayers get for extending 421A tax benefits? I'm not clear about that. I hope I'm missing something here because I don't know, it seems to me they were able to build taller than the zoning allowed. There was some benefit there. So can someone just illuminate me a little bit and what is it about this project that is affordable? First of all, as someone said before, we are in Sunset Park, no matter how much some people wanted to be, think of us as being downtown Brooklyn or something like that. But that aside, my biggest concern right now is what did what public taxpayer get in exchange for offering a benefit to the developers? And maybe someone can shed some light on this.
So the city offers a tax break for developers who will provide in exchange of the benefits affordable housing. The developer could build larger and taller. This is under a different program called inclusionary housing, which will also require the developer to provide a small percentage of the building affordable. But the tax break is basically a 30% affordable requirement for the building. So in our case, the developer provided 45 units for affordable in exchange for the tax.
So so those 45 units then originally were at 130 AMI, but the developer must have done some marketing and some research and realized that that was really not tenable in Sunset Park to the overwhelming majority of residents right now. So reduce that at the AMI cap to 100% AMI or 110% AMI. I'm not doing the numbers right now. I'm just speaking off the top of my head. So am I on the right track here?
Let's say 100 AMI, 95 maybe.
That's fine. Okay. Okay. I think it's time. I would look forward to the committee looking into this a little more and maybe crunching some numbers here going forward. it just doesn't, it just doesn't seem that the neighborhood or the community, you know, the neighborhood is getting the at least enough for their contribution of tax breaks. Anyway, I will stop there. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have any other questions for Sam? Any attendees?
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Sam. I'll be following, thank you so much, and especially for putting the presentation together. I'll be following up with you to get the information for the developers, and we can talk about it as a committee, but maybe it might be helpful to have them come in so that they can answer these questions and some additional questions directly. So I'll follow up with you, Sam, after.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good
All
night.
right, thank you so much. Okay, Jeremy, would you be able to pull up the agenda?
No problem. Give me one moment.
No problem, thank you. Okay, so just wanted to go over just some updates before we have a group discussion about maybe just a debrief on those two presentations quickly, and then just to go into planning. Oh, and I'm sorry if you're if you're on the call right now and if you're messaging me directly, it's a little hard to present and to get messages just because I'm on my phone. So I'm sorry if I'm not answering you immediately. So just a couple of updates. The New York State Emergency Rental Assistance Program closed on Friday. This past Friday, January 20th, at 9 o'clock. We found out about that and an email was circulated by the CV7 office to folks. Also yesterday and later in February, the Fifth Avenue Committee is going to be hosting virtual information sessions on the Sunset Ridge Senior Housing Project. There was a virtual session that was held yesterday at 6 o'clock, and then there's another one that is scheduled for February 27th at 6. This next item came into the community board, I want to say in the beginning, maybe January 6th. And this was regarding a vacant lot at 179 22nd Street. The developer eHome Real Estate, they submitted an application to enroll in the New York City Voluntary Cleanup Program. There was an email that was circulated out about this. There's a public comment period that is open until February 6th. I did get in contact with the city project manager for this project and asked that they come, ask for their availability to come and speak more about the site and the cleanup program. So if that's something that, you know, we could talk about this a little bit more as we're building out the agenda for future months. But if folks are interested in this, we can move forward with having folks come in and speaking more about this project. They did mention that the public comment period is currently scheduled to close on February 6th, but they can extend it about 2 more weeks. So I'll get written confirmation on that and circle back to everyone. And then before we move on to the discussion and agenda items, did anyone have anything that they wanted to mention or make sure that we get discussed today? And I see Grizel, you have your hand up.
Yes, just to inform that tomorrow, United Senior Center, in conjunction with the Fifth Avenue Committee, we're gonna have a staff from the Fifth Avenue Committee will come to the center and they will fill it out application for the seniors. They already was there, but they have the Housing Connect and they will be working with my seniors to fill it out application for apartment for seniors. So if you know any senior that is interested in get that application, will be welcome to the senior center. If they don't have already the connect with the housing connection, we're gonna provide information about how they can be in that program.
And that'll be tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow. They need to be in the Housing Connect in order to have application if they want to do that kind of application and if they want to get that kind of service. So in here in the area, they need to be in the Housing Connect.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And thank you for organizing that.
Thank you.
All right, just checking to see if anyone else has their hand up. Okay. All right, so I'm sorry, I'm all over the place today. So right now, dates that we have on hold for future meetings. I'm sorry, I lost the screen, so I don't know if the agenda is still up. But Jeremy, if you're on the side for tentative meeting schedule, CB7, they were able to place meeting holds on the calendar for monthly meetings until June. We try to set them up in a way so that they're consistently on the same day each month, just so it's like easier for it to be on people's minds. These are just tentative holds. If we need to meet more frequently to have a meeting on a particular presentation or what have you, we can do that and we can be flexible. But we do have these dates on holds for future meetings. So we are planning to meet at least once a month. And I don't know if we should put this to a vote or if anyone has any issues with these dates or if they would like to propose other dates, but are people okay with with moving forward with holding these dates on the calendar? Okay, and I see, Grizel, did you have another question or did you have your hand up from before? No, you're good? Okay, Jeremy, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, actually, I just had a question for Grizel. If for people coming to the center, do they need to bring specific documents to fill out like Housing Connect? Is there anything that they need to bring with them to fill out the application?
Okay, I was answer that question to you right now, but good, I can answer for everybody by my mouth. Tomorrow, they don't gonna do to open the page for Housing Connect because they did already that to my seniors. So what they gonna do tomorrow is fill it out any application that is in the system that benefit my seniors. But if there is any seniors that need to get how to get to the Housing Connect, we're gonna provide the information and assistance. Important that they get there. As soon as they get there, we provide the information.
Nice, thank you. Jeremy, did you have a follow-up question?
No, I'm good, thank you.
All right, awesome.
Jeremy, they welcome to the 475 53rd Street, and we're there to serve, our seniors and also the Fifth Avenue Committee. So we're gonna be working together to see how the seniors can be enrolled in that Housing Connect. Has to do with the internet and everything. So most of them need additional assistance in order to get that.
Okay. Thank you, Grizel, and thanks for clearing that up. All right, so the last thing we have to talk about is just planning future meeting topics.
I'm sorry, if there's another hand up.
Oh, I didn't see that. Thank you for catching it. Yep.
Hi, Antoinette. I'm sorry to have joined late. So what are the dates of the future meetings? Is it going to be like at a certain day of the week every month, or do you?
Jeremy, do you have the agenda up? I'm on my phone, so it's like kind of hard to see.
I
If the
don't
screen is
right
up.
now. I'll put it up again.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, Elise. So I had sent out an email yesterday with this tentative information. I believe these dates were included. I apologize if they weren't. So these are the tentative dates.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions about this? Okay. So I see John Sansori is asking some questions in the chat regarding how can we, asking to clarify how to communicate with each other and co-chairs in between meetings, and also requesting that we discuss how specifically agenda items are set. Can they only be set at a meeting, or can people communicate and set them in between meetings in a democratic fashion? Okay. And does anyone else have any? If you have anything else you want to ask, you can drop it in the chat. I'm gonna ask if there are other housing committee members, if they could just help me with fielding questions as they're coming in. I was having technical issues earlier, so I'm not on my laptop, I'm on my phone, and it's just a little difficult to navigate through all the different screens on
If
the
you'd
phone.
like, I'd be happy to call on people who raise their hands.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. I have Maria Roca first.
Thank you.
Okay. It relates to housing because it relates what I'm going to ask, because it relates to flooding, especially that area that seems to be increasingly active with housing. And I'm sure there are many people lined up, which is 4th Avenue between, I want to say 24th and 30, maybe 31st, something like that. Not sure that how many people actually realize that the southern border of the Gowanus Canal, and as well the which as the canal opens becomes New York, the Upper Bay, New York Bay, is actually along that strip of 4th Avenue. It ends at 25th Street. 1 block from 3rd Avenue is the water. If you happen to get stuck in traffic on 3rd Avenue, like around on 25th, you look to your right and you see the waves. So that's, and it's not even a long block. So I was wondering, anyone, and this question goes out to anyone, has there been any conversation at the community board, by any committee, by any environment or whatever, as to what does that say to us, that proximity to the New York Bay of that part of Sunset Park? How will that might or might not impact the feasibility, the viability of continue to construct large buildings with the additional, and the water keeps rising, so the water keeps getting closer to us, and that area already floods, all those basements already flood. Whenever we, there's so many issues. Whenever we find a lot, like somebody mentioned 22nd Street, that now has to be cleaned up, what are the consequences? Where does the environmental health of that area and the people who are going to be living there and whatnot come into question? I don't see any community conversation. I've never really actually come across any community conversation myself. Maybe it has happened, I just didn't know about it. That we need to look at that area realistically and honestly and see what is it the place that we want to be building? Is it the strip that we want to be building? 9 stories, 10 stories, 12 stories, 14 stories, with those additional kitchens, additional toilets, additional showers every day, you know, more water going down the drain, the quality of the potable water. I'm wondering why that conversation is not active and the community is not engaged in that. And I would love to, I would hope to have maybe the housing committee, how does that proximity to the water and the Gowanus Canal and the Upper Bay affect how we look at that area going forward and its availability for residential construction? So it's a question at the end of that comment, of that sentence. Okay.
No, thank you for raising that, Maria. And I think we can add that to the group of items that we want to continue to explore. I think that your question also brings upon land use and also addresses a lot of environmental. So it's not only, it doesn't only fall under the umbrella of housing. I think what we can do is bring in other committees and start having conversations about this.
Yeah, I would think that would, to me, that would seem a good place to start.
Jeremy, can you bring up the agenda again? Just because this is a really great segue, just to help prioritize at least meetings for next month. Thank you, and I'm sorry. Appreciate you helping with the agenda. Yeah, so I think it's the last slide there. Might be the one after this one. Thank you. So these were really just some ideas that emailed in about. So these are a majority of the topics on here were emailed by John Santori, Eduardo, Elise, Damien as well. I apologize if I'm missing anyone. So these are just some ideas on future topics that we can explore. Thank you, Maria, for also bringing in your agenda item. Is there any other topics that folks are interested in bringing up? You can drop them in the chat or the Q&A. But for next month's meeting or for next steps, you know, I'm really looking to you to see how you would like to frame this committee and which items you would like to prioritize moving forward. So I can read them off just so that we can go through each of the topics that were sent in.
Sorry, Antoinette, would you like me to call hands?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I have Eduardo Jimenez. Eduardo, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you, Antoinette, for the effort right now in being able to drive this conversation forward. And then also thank you for keeping in mind the questions that have been, you know, I guess asked in regards to how can the committee further, you know, improve engagement regarding to some of the subject matters of concern. And so, you know, that being said, I guess I would like to add a little bit to that. And then this is really more like a point of reflection for everyone, right, present in the committee. So with Governor Hochul's plans to boost housing development across the state, which focuses on changes to zoning and regulatory rules, what might be some of the, and also relying on local municipalities to build these new homes, what might be some of the points of reflection this committee might have regarding increasing community engagement to talk about the subject matter? And also when it comes to scheduling and making housing committee meetings possible, does the responsibility fall under the sole responsibility of the chair or the collective effort of the committee? Thank you.
Yeah, are there any other questions?
No,
think-
those are the two. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, like points of reflection, in regards to what's it mean when Governor Hochul is going to be heavily relying on local municipalities to build additional, the targeted goal in housing that she has, made. And then also, I guess, who shares the responsibility when it comes to making these meetings possible? Does it just fall on the chair, or is it like a collective responsibility? Thank you.
So I can't answer the first question. I did reach out to Assembly Member Matina's office and spoke with the Chief of Staff, hoping that they would be able to come in and speak with CB7 more about the New York State Housing Compact that the governor announced during their during their huge I think it was the state assembly, or during their speech a couple of weeks ago. It was very concerning to hear that what was being proposed. I did reach out to them. We are working to schedule something. If that's something that someone is willing to help follow up on, and if folks are interested in having that be the next meeting that we have for next month, would really appreciate, help in having that coordinated. I did reach out, haven't heard back from them. And then, in regards to your second question, I think that, we are working to have regular meetings moving forward. And if there's any topics or, items that need to be addressed, you're free to send them over and we can discuss as a group what we plan to prioritize.
Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you.
Antoinette, it occurs to me, I met on Friday night at a Fund for City of New York event, HPD Commissioner Adolfo Carrion, who used to be the Bronx Borough President, who is the National Housing Czar under the Obama administration. Since we want to learn more about these programs, and these developers, many of them are under no obligation to actually meet with us, maybe we should invite the city official who
that would be really great. Thanks for and would they be able to speak on these AMI bans?
So he should be able to speak on housing issues. I don't know if he could speak about why a specific ban was chosen during the previous administration.
Okay.
But he could certainly speak in general about the programs, or even specifically about these programs. I have John Santori with his hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. I just want to thank you for the meeting. And Antoinette, I'm very sorry for your family situation. I hope your parents are okay as well. I had no idea that was going on, so I was very sorry to hear that. And thank you for putting together these meetings. I just want to say that if we could clarify the process of setting the agenda and clarify communication between the committee members, if we could do an email list, or if people are open to some formal way of communicating with each other, and if we could clarify how we're going to set agenda items. My personal request is that it be set in a way that allows everybody to comment, and there's tried to be some either formal or informal vote. But I raised that as a way of trying to be inclusive with the agenda setting items. And then I would just say as a general point going forward, I just think it's incredibly important that we ask every question we can of every developer. This developer that just presented tonight, my personal opinion is that that is exactly the kind of project that should not come to Sunset Park. If there's anything this community can do to block it, the fact that they were going to have 100 units at $4,000 to $5,000 shows who their market is. Those so-called affordable units are completely unaffordable to the community. They're barely affordable to me. And of course, here's the train. I can't speak over the train. Sorry, just one second. I'm in a train station. I'm desperate to comment here. So anyway, I just want to really stress how that project is just not at all responsive in any conceivable way to the people of this community. And those projects will never, ever stop unless this community gets together and fights for housing. If we want to build housing, we need to figure out where it can go. And then we need to ask every official every month, every week, where the money is. It is not true that there is not money in this community. There are hundreds of millions of dollars that are spent on public projects with virtually no disclosure, no discussion, no debate, no transparency. Made in New York is the most prime example, a $323 million project with no transparency. So I'm calling on this committee and everyone who cares about this issue. We need to fight for the future because I don't have any housing security either. I'm an adult man who lives with 2 roommates. And before this, I lived with 2 roommates. And before that, I lived with 2 roommates because that's the only apartment I can afford in this community. I cannot afford to live alone, and I'm a fortunate person. So I just wanted to say those thoughts. And again, if we can create a way of communicating with each other, I understand that we're not always going to agree and we have different perspectives, and that's fine. But if we have a way of talking with each other and communicating and sharing values and perspectives, I think that's going to help everybody in this committee. Thank you for allowing me to go on a bit of a monologue. I'll stop there. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for sharing that, John. So something I realize that you're commuting and you're probably not able to see the screen, but I did send out yesterday. Well, you're probably familiar with this because you sent a majority of the meeting topics, but I guess let's just have a conversation. What do folks want to do, like, moving forward? How do you want to frame this? There's the meeting topics that were presented was meeting with the State Assembly member's office to talk more about the housing compact. Jeremy had mentioned that we do have a contact at HPD who could possibly come in to present just to get more clarity around this topic. I know that folks are interested in mobilizing around a separate issue. I think now would be a really great time to just talk about that and just map things out for future months. We're all on the line now. I think that would be really great to just at least start that conversation here. Other items that were presented were to discuss creation of a community land trust for CV7, discussion of means of preserving existing affordable housing, discussion of sites where new affordable housing could be built, including public sites and possible financing for purchase of those sites. And then there were also specific questions about some buildings that are coming up, specifically a market rate building on 3rd Avenue. I believe it's on the corner of 44th and 3rd Avenue. Also, there were questions regarding the building next to St. Andrew's Church on 41st and 4th. There were some questions about updates on the 5th Avenue committee projects. And then I had previously mentioned the voluntary cleanup program for New York City and the 179 22nd Street application. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways that we can go. I had a meeting with Jeremy and Maria and Natasha last week, to set up a poll for today, just so that we can see how we want to prioritize. But we don't have too many people on the line. So if you just want to unmute yourself and just be mindful of time, because we're at 8 o'clock, but also want to make sure that you're heard and you're getting your point across, just to help frame how to move forward.
I have
Mhm.
I have Karen Rolnick first.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Antoinette. I was reading these topics. I think they're all really good topics in a good direction. I'm not a committee member, but I do think that your 6th bullet point is a really high priority. Discussion of sites where new affordable housing can be built, including public sites, because unless we can build more affordable housing, we're never going to tackle this problem. And we do in our district have a huge site in the Jackie Gleason Bus Depot. That MTA property is almost a mile long. And while decking it over seems like a pie in the sky idea, they have done it in Queens, they have done it in Manhattan. And if we could find a way, we've got all this money temporarily from the Biden administration. I forget what they call it, the money they just sent us, but if we could get some of that money to actually build affordable houses for the community, it would be huge to be able to do that for low income and essential workers. And so I think that's an important topic to bring up.
Thanks for pointing that out. John, I see your hand is raised. I'm not sure if this is a new question or
Yeah,
if it was before.
related,
Okay.
related to the same thing. I would ask that we bring in all of the elected officials. So that's Dan Goldman, the council person, the assembly person, the state senators, and ask them to share everything they know about affordable housing construction, about the financing, about the money that goes into it, and then just go down a whole list of sites. Earlier this year, I rode my bike around the neighborhood. I counted dozens of vacant lots. I counted multiple properties that are abandoned, that are for sale. I saw publicly owned sites that appear to be abandoned. And I think we should just go through the entire list with everybody publicly and say, are any of these sites eligible? This is assuming that building is a priority. I know that not everybody actually thinks that building is a priority and that preservation is more important, but I just think that this should be public. And then we should get a very detailed breakdown of the cost of the 2 FAC projects. How much did the land cost? How much did the construction cost? And get a real clear assessment of where is affordable housing getting, like if we could pick 5 affordable housing sites in New York City that are good sites, and say, how much did they all cost and how do you raise and lower that price tag? I think it's really important to get specific on this so that people understand what we're talking about, because when we had that 737 4th Avenue project and the developer told us it's not a luxury project because it doesn't have a basketball court, which is what he said, what Totem said, that's not providing information that this community needs. So I'm not trying to pretend like anything is easy about this. Obviously, this is a hard problem that many cities face all over the world, but we need details and we need information. And so I would ask us to bring in all of our elected officials and let's find out every single thing that they can share with us in a reasonable fashion to kickstart that conversation.
Okay, so it sounds like folks want to have some sort of town hall for next month. So what we can do is frame that. John, would you be able to draft something with all of your questions, and then we can, is everyone on the call right now? Are you all, you're not all housing committee members, I don't think.
Most are actually not.
Okay, so what we'll do is, so Jeremy, for the housing, if I know that Julio has to designate someone as a committee member, but if we wanted to start a list of folks just to have, just to maintain conversation who aren't officially housing committee members, is there a way for us to do that?
Not through the board, because we're not allowed to give out board members emails without their permission. But certainly folks could do that privately. There's nothing that prevents that.
Can I comment on that quickly, Antoinette?
Sorry, just give me 1 second, John. Okay, so sorry, John, would you be able, so John, I know you're a committee member, and it sounds like folks are interested in having some sort of town hall for next month. What we can do is invite, like you said, we can invite everyone, and we can see who can confirm. We have a date on hold already for next, the end of next month, so we can use that as a tentative date. And we're scheduling about a month in advance, so that should be enough time. And we can also invite the person that Jeremy had also mentioned. And we can talk more about how we want to frame it. Maybe we'll come with questions and then they can be like on a panel, and then they can work to answer these questions. Or, you know, if they don't know the answer, at least we can open the door to have future conversations to see how we can move forward with this. Does that sound like, did I understand that correctly? Is that like the direction that folks want to go in?
And Antoinette, could we like draft something and then could it be shared with all the committee members? Because I just think it's super important that people have a chance to weigh in and that we try to do this in an inclusive way. So my request would be that, you know, such proposals be drafted and then circulated. And that if I mean, it would be even better if people put their name on a voluntary email list, but if they don't want to do that, then at least give people a chance to weigh in and comment in some sort of a shared document or something. That would be my request for anything we discuss.
So John, would you be able to help draft something?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and then if anyone, so for the folks that are on this call, are you, I know a lot of folks aren't official committee members, but does anyone have any issue with, you know, being included in a listserv or some sort of like email communication with other folks who may not be committee members? If you are, you can send me a private chat message and then we can, you know, think through a little bit better how to make sure that everyone's included. Okay. All right, if you object, if you are not okay with being included in that email circulation with your email being out, please let me know. But so far, it looks like people are okay with that. Okay, all right, so thank you for working to draft that, John. So, okay, so for the meeting for next month, what we're thinking is to have a town hall with elected officials. John is going to draft a potential agenda, some questions, and then we'll circulate it to everyone who's on today's call, as well as committee members, and we'll also send it out to the full board to see if there are any other comments that other folks want to add. And then should we have a meeting we should meet before let me just look at the calendar, just to go over the agenda and those questions and see who can help follow up with electeds and what have you. So would folks be able, I don't know, Jeremy, do you have access to the calendar, or should I just reach out tomorrow to see if there are any dates available in early
We
February?
have other things in progress that aren't necessarily on the calendar, so you might want to reach out to Natasha directly.
All right. So we could meet maybe the week of February 6th, just to have a planning meeting. To get ready for that town hall. Are folks okay with that?
Yes.
All right, cool. Okay, and then I was also thinking to invite folks from the city to come to speak about the sorry, I'm forgetting off the top of my head, the New York City voluntary cleanup program. They were also available to come in the week of February 6th. So maybe if folks are okay with having them come in, just to talk a little bit more about that project, that way we can also get some clarity about what's going to be developed there. We can have that presentation first, and then we can have a discussion about planning for the town hall after. Are folks okay with that? Okay, I'll take your silence as a yes. Okay, so we'll work to confirm if they're available, and then and we'll move forward with that. Okay, so then do we want to, I think we did a lot today. We'll work with, let me see. We'll work to confirm future meetings depending on this, and we'll keep this as a running list. I have to honestly go back and go over today's meeting, so it may take me a little bit to write up the meeting minutes. I'm gonna ask moving forward if that can be a shared responsibility, if folks can just volunteer, and we'll circulate that. So I'll take on that responsibility for this month, so just bear with me. I'll get that out to everyone as soon as I can. And then Jeremy, I'm taking a screenshot of all of the folks on the line today, and then just to make sure that they're all on here. There's also a person as an attendee that called in from a phone number. If you can email the board your email address, if you'd like to be included in these conversations, that would be helpful. And yeah, I have nothing else. Does anyone else have anything that they want to mention?
I have Maria Roca's hand up.
Okay, Maria.
Let's see, I put something on the chat, but I'll just ask the question. Has there been any news or update on the next public comment period related to the neurotoxin and metals contamination that is ongoing now at 737 4th Avenue between 24th and 25th Streets?
So I see that Jeremy responded that he didn't have an update. We did have them come and present, so I do have a contact at the state that we can follow up with.
No, but when was that? When did they come and present?
I would have to go back through my emails.
But was it a
to get
while
that
back?
information. Yeah, I believe you were at that meeting.
No. I thought that there was something should be going on like right now, like the next phase. There are numerous, well, more than one, multiple public comment periods, depending on the different phases of the cleanup process. And it's just, and we already missed one altogether because nobody knew about it. The second one, it came to light like with a couple of days left of the comment period. So we need to do better. We need to do better with, particularly where we're talking about contaminated land that is being considered as the 4th Avenue, 22nd Street site that was just mentioned earlier. We're talking about neurotoxins. We're talking about metals that the human brain cannot process in our land, because we have been, and to a certain extent continue to be, an area that was always known for its industrial activity. And that industrial activity, particularly in past decades, included heavy metals. At a time, nobody was thinking that was harming us, but hello, and heavy metals which are neurotoxins and all that. And now
of course, Maria. So I have contact information. Since you're on the housing committee, I'm gonna follow up with you and lean on you. Perhaps you can help follow up.
I've
and then
spoken
we
to
can
the,
take it
I've
from there.
spoken to the fellow who is our designated liaison with DEC in the past. I just wanted not to jump the gun, but I'm happy to follow up with him. He's a very informative and very accommodating guy. So, and
Yeah,
very
if-
thorough and all that. Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you can help follow up, that would be really,
Sure,
really helpful.
Sure, I will do that. I will do that and,
Okay.
and get back to the committee and whatever my findings are.
Okay, thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you.
I have no additional hands up.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for your help. And I'm sorry I made you meet to go over the poll and we didn't even use it.
No worries, I have a new skill now.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll be following up. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Good
Good night.
evening, everyone. Yes.
Good night.
Good night.